Test, test, test. Test.
The first cue is to get an The first cue is to get an athletic position. Laura will show you how it's done. The first cue is to get
Where'd he go? Hey,
Hey, Jim.
how are you?
I don't think I have volume. Urgh.
Can you hear me okay or no?
Oh, now. Okay, good. Thank you.
Oh, okay, good. Oh, you made me nervous there. I thought I had everything all set up.
I had that problem the other day. I had everything set up and then came back an hour later and nothing worked. I was like, oh my God. Oh, anyway. How you doing? How's Emily?
Well, I think she's doing okay.
Yeah.
She yeah, I haven't really heard much from her. So
Well, she's busy then.
yeah, well, I mean, I know she had wicked early practices yesterday and today, so um,
And
we'll
you and
see.
Barbara doing okay?
I think so. I think so. Oh, I know. It's just weird, empty room in the house. Her door's
Oh.
actually open. It's but yeah, it's all good. She said she passed her run test, so she was very happy with that.
Okay. They still do those, huh? It
They
doesn't
do.
stop it after high school.
Nope.
Ah.
And she said the practice style reminded her a lot of a stars practice. So I guess we're
Oh,
getting
that's
our kids
good.
ready for the bigger time.
For higher level play. That's
Excuse me.
good. Funny, what did Jill had practice today and Coach Tony Popinko. Somebody was doing something and they're like, well, that's what your dad told me. And she goes, but that's not what I want you to do.
Wow.
I know. I was like,
Wow.
y'all got to watch your lines, people.
That's funny.
I thought so too.
That's funny.
Oh.
I was like, I've never told anyone not to listen to a coach ever in my life, except for one time.
Oh yeah.
That happened this year when in lacrosse, one of my sixth graders, um, in practice, she starts whacking the ball like instead of picking up a ground ball, she just starts like hockeying it down the field.
Oh yeah, like field hockey, playing field
And I
hockey.
said to her, "So what are you doing?" She goes, "My sister told me to do that." I said, "Well, where'd your sister get that from?" And I knew exactly what the next words were going to be because she was a senior at Warren Hills.
Oh.
She goes, "Her coaches told her to do that." I said, "Well, I got some advice for you. Don't listen to your sister. And I've got some advice for your sister. Don't listen to those coaches."
Oh.
Here's my new dress. What's that? Damper. Damper? Damper it. It gets rid of musty odors. How?
What are we doing?
Hello.
Hello.
Eliminating the source of musty odors. Mustiness?
So I know I took a little bit of a risk with doing a Friday night meeting, but I'm hoping it's more like a Friday evening happy hour kind of thing, not anything that people would be too crazy about.
Lucia.
That's good because I had practice scheduled for next Thursday, so I was like,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
taking it Friday night.
Well, that's the thing. It's like everybody's got something. It's like yeah, I want to keep Friday sacred, but Monday through Thursday don't look that much better.
Yeah, I know.
It's a crapshoot. It's always a crapshoot.
It
Yeah.
is for sure, for sure. So Robert, you're from Independence, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and are you coaching now or?
I'm assisting Jamie.
Okay, great.
Jamie Tosh. Yeah, she's the fifth, sixth.
Okay, good, good, good.
I apologize. I'm in a doctor's office right now in a waiting room. So
I wasn't gonna ask, but I had a feeling you were somewhere.
yeah.
No problem.
So I actually will drop out for a little bit when I do go in, but I'll come back as soon as I come out. I don't think I'm going to be in there too long.
Okay, no worries.
Good
And
evening,
Jamie will be joining
everybody.
as well.
Hello.
Colleen Newton on from Independence as well for the 2-4 level.
I'm sorry.
Colleen Newton from Independence.
Oh, okay.
I
Hi.
coached the 2-3-4.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'm on the phone. Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to mute my phone here because I have 4 very energetic children. So they're probably really going to appreciate it if I'm muting myself. So if I don't answer in a split second, just give me 1 minute to click that button back because I'm also preparing for a birthday party for tomorrow. So I'm trying to get all my food prepped. So.
Jim, quick question before we get started. Do you have any information on the play day yet?
It will be Sunday the 29th.
Any details of those first times?
Getting there. I'm still getting every time a town says I got to add a team or I got to subtract a team, it changes everything. So it's kind of settling out. I always have a kind of skeleton model, but as far as placing the teams and things like that, that's not final yet. But it'll be somewhere in that kind of, and I know this is going to sound ridiculous. It'll be somewhere in that kind of noon to 6 range, but probably less than that.
Okay.
There are a couple
for
of
me,
towns
the
that
later,
are.
the better that day.
I'm sorry.
I said specifically for me, the later the better for me that day.
Well, if you want, we do have a scheduling request form on the website, or you can send me an
really?
email for something like play. I mean, if it was a season thing, I'd like you to do it through the form. But if it's just for play day, send me an email because there definitely are. We do have some like Pennsylvania towns coming from further away, and I think a lot of them start school the next day. So I know I've gotten some requests to get some teams in early. To get requests to get teams in late too would help balance that for sure.
Okay.
So I can accommodate almost everything unless everybody wants exactly the same thing. So,
Right.
instead of throwing darts, if you have a preference, just let me know.
Okay.
But sooner
Yes,
than
I'll put it
later
on the
so that I
website.
can kind of nail it down because I know people are starting to chomp at the bit for it and I'd like to get it out by as early in the week as I can, but midweek is probably realistic.
Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you for the info.
Yep. No, thank you. As long as we're starting to see some people, I think I have an attendance app working in the background here, but I'm not 100% sure. I just installed it because the one I used to have disappeared. If you could just do me a favor and whatever platform you're on, if you're on YouTube or if you're on the Google Meet, if you can just put in your comments field just your name and whether you're a coach, an official, a director, or whatever your role is. You can only you can pick one, Jen. You don't have to write them all in. But those of you who are wearing 38 hats, I probably know you already anyway. But just so I can reconcile everything and try to get a good sense of who's here. Um, Tell your friends these meetings do count. You know, we use it as a for the officials. It's going to probably get you more work because they're going to know you cared enough to show up. And for the coaches, it's going to get you a little bit of helpful bias if there's a conflict between you and a coach who didn't go to the rules meeting. I'm generally going to lean towards the one who paid attention. So thank you very much for everybody doing this. That'll be great. I can just kind of copy and paste it later. So it's 5:59. I'm still getting a lot of doorbells here, so I'm just gonna give it another, hopefully 2 or 3 minutes. It'll start to die down, and we can get started. I do see I have somebody on the YouTube feed. I hate to pick on you, but can you just it looks like you responded because you added coach, but can you just let me know, give me a thumbs up or everything's okay in the comments if you're hearing and seeing everything okay? I apologize if you end up seeing the side of my head. I got like three screens working here, so I'm my own producer right now. Okay, so as more people are joining again, if you can just put your name and role, coach, umpire, whatever, in the comments, I'd appreciate it. All right. All right, might as well get started. It is Friday. Again, as I was saying to a few of the early birds, a little untraditional. But yeah, everybody's schedules are pretty crazy, so I figure Friday was just as good or just as bad these days as anything else. Um, Again, just if you wouldn't mind, just as you join, or that doesn't help if you're not already here. Just put your name in the comments so we can make sure we give everybody credit for being here. Um, I will say that I'm not thrilled with the fact that we're doing this remotely, but it kind of still felt like the right thing to do. So, as I do see the numbers. I don't always see the names, but I see how many people are here. So, do me a favor, come on and stay on. I don't want to see people dropping off because that'll make me think this was a bad idea and we're gonna have to get people back in person again. So, I know this is a little bit of time out of your schedule, and I do appreciate it. But it is important, and the hour we're going to spend together tonight hopefully is going to prevent a lot of hours of issues throughout the season. So um, I'll do the best I can to keep it moving, keep it interesting. Definitely time for Q&A at the end, and I guess we may as well get started. So, excuse me. So, welcome to the 2021 season. Welcome back if you were on hiatus for 2020. It's very good to see everybody and to really be getting into another full season. Last year we had a good season. It was definitely smaller, definitely interesting, definitely challenging in a lot of ways, but ultimately it was also definitely successful. So to those of you who managed the ordeal of last year and such, very, very, very much appreciated, and we're glad to have you all back. And those of you who needed to take the season off, we totally understand that as well. Because we had a lot of towns, probably almost half, did not participate last year. We did make a conscious effort to not change really anything in the way of the rules this year. Having said that, though, of course, this meeting always bears repeating and unfortunately can never be given too often, because we do get new people cycling through, and even some of the old savvy vets pick up a thing or two, or lend something to the meeting to help the newer folks. So we do again appreciate everybody being here, and we hope you get something out of the next hour. This is mandatory in quotes for both coaches and prospective umpires. It will be listed on the website whether you attended one of these meetings. So again, throw your name in the comments if you haven't already. Um, we do, again, we're kind of a beggar's market here in the sense that we need coaches and we need umpires probably more than you guys need us. But it is still important that we get you guys educated and in line with the kind of the philosophy of the league, and that excuse me, and that everyone's kind of on the same page. It makes for a much smoother season. So without further ado, so again, I guess I'll say, tell your friends if they're not here. We really want to see them, at Thursday's meeting. Also, we will have this up on the website, but of course, I can't track who watches the video, so you get more credit for being here live in my eyes. Even when conflict resolution comes up, than you do first telling me you watched it online at some point. So again, tell your friends, because they're not hearing it right now if they're not here. All right, let's get moving. Sorry, gotta find my screens here. Yeah. As usual, this is our emails, the important emails you're going to need. Hopefully, we use the first one for some general things. The second one is going to be an email address that a couple of us will have access to. If you do have any complaints about a town or a situation or something kind of ethically or philosophically related, we can use that as well. And we have a small committee that we're going to solidify and use to help with any conflicts that come up. Sorry. Well, I got to answer the doorbell every time it comes. It's going to throw me off a little. All right. So also make use of the website. Simply Google NJPA hockey. It comes up first every time. A lot of information there, to include rule books. So if there is any question on the rules, there really shouldn't be any question on the rules. They're there for the whole universe to see. And any information as far as your towns are concerned, where they're located, who runs it. Ultimately, we'll have coach and roster information up there. So you'll have pretty much anything you need to know. You'll have eligible umpires that you can pull from both your town or from other towns willing to travel to your town. That's an underused tool that we have out there as well. I know some towns are having some trouble getting umpires. So we'll explain to you with an email later exactly how to make use of that tool. Really what our plan is today is just to kind of do a very, very brief overview on the rules and procedures. It's really on you to read the rule book for this section for the division you're coaching and or officiating. We'll talk about changes this year. Again, not much, but points of emphasis, what's expected of us, and again, leave time for some Q&A. So the big change on equipment happened last year, where the NFHS, the National Federation of High School, whatever the heck it stands for, dropped its mandate for goggles. We typically try to follow that guidance. So we have dropped our own to say goggles are no longer recommended, but no longer mandatory, but we do recommend them. There is some school of thought that wire cage goggles may in fact be more dangerous to opposing players than they are protective of the player wearing them. But that's anecdotal, and you can argue either way. Bottom line is we will allow personal preference or town preference or coach preference to determine whether you want or a kid wants to wear goggles. Of course, having said that, especially now talking about 5, 6, and 7, 8, goggles are not mandatory, but if somebody wants to wear a face shield or even goggles for that matter, on a corner to defend a corner, certainly welcome to do that and have that opportunity to quickly put on some sort of face protection to defend a corner. You'll see that in club. You started to see that in high school. If you watch the Olympics, you saw them doing that. If it wasn't for COVID, I would recommend each town or each team have a couple of face masks for the kids to use. I will not make that recommendation this year, but you certainly, I would advise some kind of protection for the kids who are defending corners. My personal pet peeve I talk about every year: scores table and a clock should be at every home field. A clock should be at every home field. Really, really, really hate when it's a parent with a cell phone and a timer on their cell phone, timer app, because that always tends to time out at the worst possible moments. As you're trying to sub in 4 or 5 kids, all of which screaming at you they want to play center, meanwhile you're trying to figure out how much time you have left in the half or the quarter, it just gets confusing. So please, please, please have a clock. It definitely resolves a couple of frantic issues, and it's one less thing for the coach to have to worry about on the sideline. Paying and reviewing officials. The pay for the officials hasn't changed this year. It is still $25 per official at the 2-4 and the 5-6 level. It is $35 if only one official works the game. However, again, please do not use that as a budgetary cost-saving measure. It is highly recommended and strongly, strongly, strongly advised to have 2 officials working each 2-4 and 5-6 game. We're talking about high school kids who are new to this perspective. Really, really best for them to be paired. If you have to, run a game with only one, I'm not going to stop you. And that official definitely deserves a little combat pay, which is why they get 35 instead of 25. But please make every effort to have 2 officials on the field at all times. New last year, I believe it was, both teams will contribute to paying for the officials every game. So one of you is paying one of them, one of you is paying the other. At the 7-8 division, it's $60 for the one official who's going to work that game. And that's contributed equally by both teams, 30 and 30. Why is there only one at the 7-8? Because it's a high school, it's a certified USA Field Hockey certified to officiate high school official. It's not a kid, and I don't mean to diminish those kids on the line today. But a lot of those certified officials have a lot of experience, and they are pricey. So to continue to have them, we do only use one for our 7-8 division. We do have a form on the website to rate or at least evaluate the officials. Each team, home and away, should do this for each official every single game. This is something that off-season meeting, the biggest complaint is, or the biggest topic of conversation is, how can we train the officials better? How can we help the officials be better? And then 10% of the opportunities to evaluate an official are actually used. There's going to be over 200 games played this season. If you got 2 officials on each one, that's 400 times 2, because you got 2 teams playing. You've got 800, whatever I'm getting up to, opportunities to evaluate officials. Take advantage of it. Please do it every game. Don't refer to the blonde one or the brunette, and don't refer to them as a pair. Do take the time. You're supposed to get their names before the game anyway. get their names, know who's who, and please review them accordingly. So that we can, if there's critical feedback that needs to go specifically back to them, I want to be able to get it to them. And I do look at these throughout the season, just for highlights. But we do also aggregate the information at the end of the year and use it to have conversations. And it informs this meeting as well. Some of the slides you'll see today come from feedback from those reviews. So, also, we do have a 5th and 6th grade tournament at the end of each year. And when I ask each town to recommend to me who they'd like to have officiate that tournament, I do like to look at how they were rated during the year so that I can get a sense of, is this someone who I don't want at all? Or is this someone who is absolutely one of the best officials in our league and can handle the pressure of working a championship game? Or should I keep this person off on the kind of quote unquote losers bracket and, work those games as well? So, and again, it's no offense to any official who gets caught in those situations, but everybody's learning and everyone's learning at different rates. And, we have seniors who are here who've been doing it for 4 years, and we have freshmen who are going out there for the first time. Trust me, it's a different experience as you get older. And again, any issues, the officials, your forum to give feedback about any coaches, parents, townships, etc. that you come across is to email me or the ethics email. So you have a voice as well, and trust me, I've heard that voice from some of you and some of your predecessors over the years, and I take it very, very seriously. If you guys, I know what it takes for you guys to shoot an email to an adult, and if you're doing that, I know something really serious happened, and it will not be taken lightly, I can assure you. All right, 5th and 6th and 7th and 8th grade goalie equipment. Fully equipped is fully equipped. Just because the face mask, comes down doesn't mean you don't need a neck protector. Just because they're wearing padded pants doesn't mean you don't need a pelvic protector. Unless, of course, there's a pelvic protector built into those pants, but that's rarely the case. Everything else is pretty obvious. The only thing really that's optional from a goalie perspective is arm or elbow pads. If a goalie is found to be not properly equipped, they are no longer a goalie. They do not have goalie privileges. So please, make sure you've got the right equipment, keep those kids safe. Some of them are true goalies and they're absolutely out of their mind bonkers, and some of them just got thrown in that day because nobody else wanted to step up. So I know some kids who would go in there with a pair of shorts and a baseball cap, and they deserve to be goalies and they're probably picked the right position. But you do also have some teams that are kind of thrown in their Goldberg of the day, and we want to make sure that we keep these kids safe. It's an interesting age, especially at the 5-6, where you can get some kids who've been playing club for a couple of years and really crank a shot, and some who can barely dribble it in. So, you want your goalie to be protected. We started this last year. To be honest with you, I'm not sure how successful it was, but it's an attempt, and we're going to attempt it again this year. We want each team to have somebody identified, at least to the officials, as an adult ambassador, sideline ambassador. A lot of other leagues are starting to go this way. I hate the fact that we have to do it, but sometimes we have to do it. And at least knowing that the person's there, potentially can prevent some issues on the sidelines. What we do want to do though, and as we kind of continue to evolve this, we're not expecting that person to go up and, solve the problem necessarily. But we want that person to be aware that there's a problem. If they don't feel comfortable addressing the person creating the problem, that's totally fine. Come around, take a walk around the field to the coach of their team, let them know that something's going on, and let the coaches, you guys as coaches, maybe stop the game, have a conversation, talk to the officials, just try to keep things settled. I will say for the most part, I'm not trying to scare anybody with this. I've been generally very pleased in the 11 or 12 years I've been involved in this league. Um, how good, for the most part, our sidelines tend to be, especially relative to some other leagues. But there are situations, and it's too late after there's a situation to try to figure out how to work with it. So we're just going to say, in all cases, let's identify somebody, and hopefully, in almost no cases, will we ever have to use that somebody. So just please, you know, please make an effort to do that. I know it's something else to think about as a coach, but again, hopefully it's one of those things where just by doing it, you'll never need to use it. But if you do need it, it'll be helpful. The field, we're really going to blow through this because it's really just kind of pictures that you can look at later. But the biggest takeaway is we have three different size fields. We have a small field actually have four if you want to count the micros, but we don't talk about the micros tonight. But we have, for our 2-4s, we play on a 25 by 50, 25 yard by 50 yard pitch. On our 5 and 6 division, 5th and 6th grade division, we play on a 40 by 60. And the 7th and 8th graders, again, it's mostly a New Jersey thing, but I'll refer to it anyway, play on a full field. The small field for the 2-4s and the modified field for the 5-6s, we do want to try to use, though, consistent high school level terminology just to get the thoughts in their head and train them. The circle, even though in the 2-4 division it's only a 9-yard circle, or I'm sorry, it's it's a 9-yard circle. We're still going to have a 16-yard hit. Bring it out to the 16. The line, the quote unquote restraining line, even though it's only 10 yards from the end line at the 2-4, we're still going to call it the 25. So, get the kids used to the terminology, that'll help them. The one thing, of course, to point out in the 5th and 6th grade division, there really is, I guess the question is there a 25 or isn't there? And the answer is yes. The midfield line is the 25, even though it's really technically at 30 yards. We kind of follow USA Field Hockey and the clubs and things like that play 7-on-7, where they don't have a separate 25-yard line. It's just the midfield stripe. So all of the inside the 25 type rules apply for the entire half of the field at the 5-6 level. If it's a long hit, and I swear to you this actually happened, no, there is no imaginary spot about 5 yards in from the midfield line where that long hit comes from. When I saw that happen at a town that's no longer in this league, I said, "Could you tell me who told you that?" And they said, "Oh, I learned that at the rules meeting." I said, "Do I look at all familiar to you?" I said, "I gave that rules meeting. I can assure you, I never said that." That's a card I never play, but that time I kind of had to because I couldn't believe what I was hearing. So the 25 is the midfield line at 5-6. Always. So 2-4 division, you can give this to your grounds crew, hopefully, or yourself if you're lining your own fields. The other thing too, I guess, just to be aware of with the fields is if a field is not good, whether it be, really, really bad, dangerous condition, or poorly lined or inappropriately lined, let me know. Again, I've been to some fields where these alleys were, it was like a third, a third, a third instead of these little alleys on the side and a big area in the middle. These measurements were really carefully arrived at in a lot of ways. The alleys actually used to be a little bit bigger, and what we found was our little second graders weren't able to hit from the sideline out of the alley. It was too far away. So it's pinched in for a reason. If that thing is 10 yards wide, your little guys are really going to have a hard time. So the measurements are there for a reason, and they have evolved over the years. Here again, 5th and 6th grade. That pink line right here is not a separate line. It's just to kind of give you a measurement. So there really truly is only one line at the midfield. Those dashed lines outside the circle are optional. You don't need them, especially this year when all of our DPWs, Department of Public Works, grounds crews are telling us how expensive paint is. You can save paint. Don't draw the dash. And then, the full field. Just real quick, and again, you can always refer to this later for 2-4, second through fourth grade. Typically, what we'll do is we'll kind of set them up in a triangle, 3-2-1, and each of them has separate areas of the field where they can go. We do try to separate and really be deliberate about where the kids can go in the second, third, and fourth grade level because they're new. And, if anybody had a kid in a soccer program, that without rules to the contrary, you're going to have 6-on-6 is going to mean 12 kids on top of the ball. So our rules are designed, they're pretty specific, and they're designed to keep the kids spread out so that when they get to the bigger fields at 5, 6, and 7, 8, they start to understand that they need to kind of keep that boat balanced, so to speak, and not all chase the ball. So again, very, very quickly, we've got, our coach's wing is usually that youngest player. We'll put them on the coach's sideline. They get that whole side of the field from 25 to 25, plus the attacking zone. The far wing is the same thing on the other side. That might be a more experienced second grader or a kid who's getting it a little bit faster, or maybe a third grader who you don't have to yell as loud at. You can put them on the other side of the field. Your center, kind of goes without saying, gets the middle of the field. And then your midfielders and your defensive back. Now, I'm going to go back to the wing for a second because this is critical. We're putting our youngest players typically in the wing, or at least our least experienced players in the wing. So this is because we want to make sure at the second, third, and fourth grade level, it is a 3-year age gap, and there can be a pretty substantial difference in sizes and skills. So what we're really trying to do is create even matchups. So you put your little guys in that coach's wing, and in that coach's wing, or the other wing, they're only playing against each other. It's essentially a one-on-one game. So what we are not going to have happen is a midfielder is not going to stick their stick into the coach's wing or into either wing alley to try to take the ball away. Let the kids play, so to speak, from 25 to 25. It's good experience for them, and it'll take, and again, I've been around this a long time, and I know many of you would agree. This is where you start to see, I'll say, some of that aggressiveness come from a kid who you haven't heard speak for, the entire season. You give them the opportunity to play, without the bigger kids just taking over. You're going to see that kid develop pretty well over the course of a season. So with a couple of minor exceptions, you will never have anybody other than, your wings in the wing alley. The only exceptions to that rule, is if it is, and, like a ball goes out of bounds, and so you have a side in, your wing is a forward, and we all want to teach our forwards to go forward. So for the purpose of a side in, you're allowed to put a midfielder in there to initiate the side in, and the intention is that you're initiating the side in to that wing. It's a pass up the field to that wing, and then that midfielder gets out of the alley. Their only purpose is to get the ball started and to give the forward the opportunity to go upfield. We want to train the forwards to get up, be upfield from the ball. So having them do the restart is kind of a waste because all they're going to do is run into the other second grader they're playing against and get nothing out of it. So we're putting allowing an older player to come in for the purpose of the restart only. And quite honestly, within the wing alleys, that is the reason, the only exception to that rule. But again, it's get in, start the ball, get out. And also, by the way, the intention is not get in, flick the ball to the center and get out also, or to dribble the ball out of the wing and, and continue downfield. We really want to get those forwards involved. Those are generally the most timid kids on the field. This is how we kind of make sure we get them involved. So there's that. I'll click through. Whoop. Side in between the 25s, and then inside the offensive 25. This is also a relatively new rule. We are allowing a fourth attacking player inside the 25 to start to do a restart. And the reason again for this is what we were finding was because we are 3-on-3 inside the 25 at the second through fourth grade level, we were finding it was a disadvantage for the offense to have a restart inside the 25 because one kid had to start with the ball and they were flicking in or trying to get to two kids who were usually being covered by the other three. So what we did now is we added that fourth kid again solely for the purpose of the restart. They can dribble the ball kind of back and forth if they need to move the ball the 2 yards and send it into the circle into a 3-on-3 situation. So it's a little more fair and a little closer to approximating what would happen on a bigger field when they're older. And again, start the play, get the hell out. It's not their play. So. Yeah, I'm not going to go crazy on the rule stuff. It's just, this is one of those things where you never know what to take out of a presentation once it's in there. But we definitely don't need to talk about much of this. The only real key on this particular slide is, the notion of self-starting. In the 5th and 6th and 7th and 8th division, self-start, right away for the 5th and 6th graders. For the 2-4s, everything is a modified self-start. So what that means is there's no notion of channeling or anything like that in the 2-4. When there's a dead ball and you're about to do a restart, the attackers have to let the defenders move 5 yards away before they start. So once they start, once they move and then the attackers start, that's fine. Everybody can play. But we're not expecting a second, third, or fourth grader to understand the concept of channeling. So we're going to, again, for safety and for development, give them the time to move away. And officials, umpires on the call, the defenders on a restart may not realize that they're supposed to move. So by all means, feel free to help. Hey, number 27, I need you to, take 3 steps backwards, something like that. So, by all means, kind of help them along. And let's see. All right, ball goes over the end line. If it was last hit by the offense, it's a 16-yard hit coming out by the defense. If the defense unintentionally has to go over the end line, then it's a long hit, long corner, 25-yard hit, whatever it's being called these days. And the key here, though, is in line with the spot in the field where the ball crossed the end line. So, you don't get to bring it into the middle of the field or whatever. It comes straight out to the 25 and then come back in. And don't forget, if it's like a deliberate sweep by the defense to cause the ball to go over the end line, or the goalie deliberately sends the ball over the end line, not deflects, but really kind of turns her body and sends it, then that's a corner. Bully, officials, don't be afraid to use a bully if you're in a kind of neutral, something went wrong, but I'm not sure what it was situation. You can always rely on a bully. Also, if the ball just kind of pops up, especially at the 2-4 division, whistle it dead, start it with a bully, if you can't figure out fault. So, we want to prevent dangerous play. It's okay to not necessarily know who sent the ball up, but we want to make sure it's clear the ball should not be going, too high in the air. And if you need to stop play to make that point and restart with a bully, that's totally fine. Bully, by the way, now is, and I guess it's been this way for enough years that maybe I don't need to say this, but it used to be, tap, 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 go for the ball. Now it's just one tap of the sticks and go for the ball. So there is a video on this on the website, but for those of you who may be coming back to the game after a few years away, it's one tap and go for the ball on a bully. All right. Where can the ball go? What's the kind of restrictions we have? 2-4 division. We want to keep the stick in the ball no higher than the knees of the shortest player in the area of the swing or the path of the ball. So, it's going to change. You have a fourth grader who's, 4.5 feet tall. You got a second grader who's, 3'6". It's going to be different. You have to recognize that. But backswing, follow through, and ball, we're talking about knees at the 2-4. 5-6 division, we're talking about hips. Same thing. Everything, backswing, follow through, and ball. We're talking about everything is hip height. The only exception on that is when you are inside the circle and shooting, you are allowed to flick the ball up and use the entire cage. So it's not with a backswing, but you can flick the ball up in the inside the circle to shoot. Outside the circles, not a shot. There are no aerials or scoops. There's a lot of rules that go into what determines a safe scoop type of play, where the lob and drop. I'll save you guys the 5-minute explanation on what's legal and what's not. Just suffice it to say, I've yet to meet a parent, for the most part, in the stands who understands when it can be called or not. And I don't want to put that burden on a 15-year-old kid trying to judge danger on the field. So there's really no reason at the 5-6 level for it. The field is short enough. They are allowed to drive, but again, keep everything hips and below, which you probably should be doing anyway. And you don't really need to get the aerials going at this age. 7th and 8th division, all the gloves are off. Full high school rules. Again, this is basically what I just said. The rules are for the kids and for the kids' safety. The rules are also for our officials. So, keep that in mind. All right. Now, I did say that, I know when, and again, we are volunteer parents, varying levels of hockey experience, teaching kids with varying levels of hockey experience. And this year, in a 5th and 6th grade division, they can drive now. 7th and 8th grade, they always could. What I want to do is just take a minute and let this video run. What you're going to see is what I think, after scouring the internet for good videos a couple of years ago, this young lady does a phenomenal job, for the most part. Not everyone's hip and below, but really illustrating how a good drive is executed and how the stick very rarely goes up above her hips. Too often, kids go out to drive for the first time and they look like they're hitting a 9-iron. We just want to avoid that. We want to show a safe environment. This video separately is also on our website if you want to use it for an example. You'll find that you may want to put it on mute because the lady in gray's voice is interesting. It is a video worth watching. I did not pick the music. I did not pick the people. But I'll just let it roll for about a minute and a half.
The first cue is to get at flag position. Maura will show you how it's done. You want to bend your knees low and stagger your right foot back. Next, the second cue is make sure the ball is in front of your left foot. The third cue is when you're hitting you want your stick back and hands together. Make sure your hands stay together. You don't want to bring your stick up because that makes the ball come up in the air. You make sure you bring it back. Rotate your torso backwards. So first cue, athletic position. Make sure your foot's staggered back. Second cue, make sure the ball is in front of your left foot. Third cue, bring your torso back, hands together. Fourth cue, shift your body weight forward and swing and make contact with the ball. The fifth cue is follow through with the ball. Make sure you stay low the entire time and follow through to your target. When hitting on the move, the cues will remain the same. The only adjustment we will make is that you tap it forward, step with your left foot, then right foot, and then left foot again, and make sure your left foot ends directly across from the ball.
Pay attention to how Mo stays low when she makes contact with the ball and she follows through with her stick after her shot.
So we get the point, but bottom line is, and again, this is more for the coaches than for the officials at this point. But we want to teach proper technique to these kids, and we can. I think that we can teach them how to drive and how to drive well if we show them how to kind of corkscrew themselves a bit the way that young lady did. That was a couple of kids from Montclair about, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 years ago at this point. I've been using the same video for a couple of years now, but again, I still haven't found one that's better. She does a really nice job, keeping that stick down. So anyway, okay, scoring. This is I guess it's kind of obvious, but a goal is scored when the entire ball passes completely over the goal line between the goal posts. Shots have to be taken from inside the striking circle or on the line. The line is in. If ball is delivered in the direction of the goal from outside the circle and deflected into the goal by a defender's body or stick or goalpost, it is not a goal. If it's knocked into the goal from within the circle or on the goal line by a defender's body or stick or goal deflection, it is a legal goal. So basically, the bottom line on this is has to be last touched. The last offensive player to touch the ball has to have been inside the circle. If that didn't happen, then it can't be a goal. I say the entire ball passes completely over the goal line. This is usually where I remind people that when you're positioning your goal cages on your fields, make sure that you see they are behind the line. The line is in play. All sidelines, all lines on the field are in play. So make sure that your goal is actually behind the white end line. So that you can, this basically says, well, now if I can't see the ball must have totally crossed the line. But the line itself is in, and if you're obscuring the official's view, then you may, you may have a problem with getting goal or no goal calls made properly. Power down. I'm not going to read through all of this. Just understand in the 2-4 and the 5-6 division, we have mandated strategies, whether you have a 3 or a 4 or a 5 or a 6 goal lead. Read them. Please know them. I say it every year, and unfortunately it doesn't change. This is literally the single biggest cause of emails to my inbox and to the ethics inbox every single season. I can also tell you that it's also the question that most people get wrong on every rules test. Anybody want to make a random guess which series of questions, which of those columns are the power down questions? It's insane. This is every year. It's not that difficult. It is incremental and decremental in the sense that at a 3-goal lead, there are things you need to do. At a 4-goal lead, there are things you need to do in addition to those things. If it goes back to a 3-goal lead, it's just the first set of things you need to do. So if you do nothing else all season, have nothing in your hand paper wise all season, print this one page and stick it in your pocket, stick it on your clipboard. It will resolve or prevent a lot of issues. Not really going to go through the fouls and such, other than to say, the big one, with the stick interference, hacking, reaching in from behind. Reaching in from behind is not necessarily. Oh, that's not good. If we all get kicked off, we may need to restart this call. That's not good. I just got a message saying my call ends in 5 minutes. So let's see what happens. If we do all get kicked off, just close out, and I'm going to rejoin exactly the same meeting all over again. I apologize for that. That's new. Okay, so playing the ball from behind. Playing the ball from behind is not in and of itself illegal, but hooking somebody's stick while you're doing it is. I always try to tell my kids, look at the shape of your field hockey stick, and it's a kind of it hooks back. Well, you should do the same thing. Run past the player you're trying to defend, and come back and attack them from the front. Teach them proper technique. Also, low block tackling. We want to make sure that, especially in the 2-4 divisions, they're not getting too low. If a player's got both hands on their stick and on the ground at the 2-4 division, odds are their head is also like this, and they're not looking at anything. An older player will know enough to keep their head up. So, there's that. Now I'm all freaking out on the time. Let's see. What else? Obstruction. I'm going to skip this for now. It's a little video, but let's... bunching. Bunching is a foul in our league. It's not a real foul, but it's kind of one of these things where something can probably happen and probably will happen, so we're just going to try to avoid it. Again, kind of like that soccer swarm. If you have more than one player from any one team playing the ball, that's bunching. We want to try to keep the kids spread out. So, there is the only issue, though, is, obviously in front of a goal mouth, there's a little bit of a scramble. We try not to call bunching when it's inside the circles. At that point, look for the other fouls that go along with it. Look for the foot, look for the obstruction, look for the hack, look for, whatever. But try not to call bunching in the circle. Because look at it this way. Someone sends a ball into the circle, two kids from the same team think it's coming to them and go to take the shot. You don't want to deny that opportunity necessarily. Goalie kicks it out, both kids go to reach for it. You don't want to deny that opportunity. So, so don't call bunching, but if there is a foot or if there is something else, by all means call that. Tackling from behind, we talked about. Hold for advantage. Officials, this is for you. So again, just because it rolled on a kid's foot doesn't necessarily mean it has to be a foul, even though half the sideline is going to be screaming that it should be. Make sure that there's actually advantage gained. If the ball rolls over a kid's foot, but it's still going exactly in the direction it was supposed to be going, and it didn't really impact the play, don't call it. Put your arm out if you want to, point in the direction of, but don't blow your whistle. This way people know you saw something, but you're waiting to determine if it actually had an impact on the play. So there's that. Penalty corners. New last year. Only 2 defenders in the 2-4 division on a corner. So not 3. So we do actually want it to be an advantage for the team that earned the penalty. So you've got to make sure that there are only 2 defenders now, one on either side of the goal cage. Everyone else goes behind the center line. Once the play starts, that all of the other defenders can charge forward, but only the third at that level can join the circle and join the defense. 5-6 division, it's 3 defenders plus a goalie, and everybody can join in once the play is initiated. Officials, this is for you. Have a lead and a trail official. Shoot, I'm getting the call is about to end. So here's what we're going to do. Let's end this, and then I'm going to close out of this. If everybody could just kind of try clicking back on. If this doesn't work, I'll send out an email. Hey, sorry about that. All right, I'm just going to try to put this up on the website in case anybody else looks there. Oh, that was an unanticipated headache. I'm sorry about that, everybody.
Jim, since you got kicked out, I did copy and paste all the comments, so you don't have to do that again. So I'll send you that email. So
Thank
have
you.
your attendance.
As it was closing me out, I realized I hadn't done it, and I was like freaking out. Thank
Yeah,
you.
with that 5 minute, I was like, you got enough. So I did do that. So I'll send you that document when we're done.
You are beyond awesome. Thank you, Jen.
You're welcome.
You just get my presentation back up. All right. Well, this is why we do 2 meetings also. I'm trying to get this back. Just bear with us a minute or two. I'm not going to wait for everybody to come back, because I'm sure we probably lost some for good. But almost there, guys. Almost there. Oh, come on. Just 1 second. I'm just trying to paste the new link on the website. So, just in case. All right, we're gonna get started again. I really appreciate everybody coming back on. I'm sorry for this. That was news to me, and we'll have to figure that one out for the next time. Um, all right, let's finish this up. So, again, hopefully we got some of the umpires back on the call. What we're really looking for is kind of this lead and trail kind of idea where if you are whoever's ahead should stay ahead of the ball, and whoever's behind is trailing the person who is ahead of the ball. The umpire who's ahead of the ball really should be looking for ball-related fouls. The trail is looking for more positioning, obstruction, things like that. Really should be largely the lead official's role to make most of the calls. But again, the trail certainly can. And again, whichever direction the ball is going, that's that's the illustration. So you're using about 2/3 of the field as an official. And again, and by the way, I just want to also point out, also all the way down to the goal line. The lead official, if that ball is inside the circle, where you need to be is on the goal line, probably right about the intersection of the circle, inside the circle, depending on the field, and the goal line. You need to be there. You have a better point of, you will not see anybody's back from that position. If you're hanging out middle of the box, you're going to be obstructed yourself by other players, and you're not going to have a good view. So get all the way down to the end line on your side of the field. Always be facing the field. Make your signals. Be confident with your arm movements. things like that. So again, all this will be available to you. Here are some of those signals. Um, and what do you call it? So here are some of those signals. And, again, we actually have a video on it. In the interest of time, I'm not going to show it, but it is available. The video itself is available on the website. Kind of how you should make those, it sounds silly and some of them kind of look silly when they're running by the camera, but it kind of shows you when you're moving what you should be doing, and kind of the motions you should be making with your arms when you're making these calls. Be demonstrative, umpires. Definitely, please be demonstrative. Um, be obvious. Don't just sit there. Kind of like the old Australian rules football umpires where they just kind of go like this. You want it, full arm. Let people know you're watching, that you know what you're doing. The more of that you do, the more confident you will appear. Even if you aren't necessarily confident, it will make you appear more confident, and that is huge. As an umpire, you don't want to chum the water with having somebody think you don't know what you're doing, because they'll remind you of that. Again, I don't mean that to scare anybody, but umpires, you guys are the ones getting paid. You guys are the professionals here. I know you guys are the kids too in a lot of cases, but be the stronger you come off and the more confident in your own opinion and ability you are, the better an experience you're going to have. And oh, by the way, shameless plug, Play Day is a great place to get that confidence and experience. Don't let the first time you step on the field be game one. Come down to Play Day. We need officials for Play Day. You need to be there for Play Day. Working Play Day is a plus in your column and will be disclosed on the website whether you did it or not. Get that experience. Everyone's there in the preseason for Play Day to learn. It is not a day where you walk away with 3 wins and you say, wow, I'm awesome, we won. It's a day to learn. It's a day for the kids to learn. It's a day for the coaches to learn. And it's absolutely 1,000% a training day and a day for you officials to learn as well. So it's as mandatory as I can make it without dragging you all there myself. But please be there. You are needed, and you need it too. Again, I'm going to skip this video. Hopefully. Okay. Last thing is our website. We do have a lot of information on our website, as I mentioned earlier. Google NJPA hockey. This is what's going to come up. Officials and coaches, if you haven't already registered, please do so. Right down here, umpire registration, coach registration. If I know who you are, I can reach out to you if something comes up. I do send a couple of emails throughout the course of the season if situations come up. I'm not going to call anybody specifically out, but if we learn a lesson from something that happened one day that should be shared with everybody, I would like to share it with everybody. So if I know who you are and where you are, I can find you and I can get you that information. So that is, I think, hold on, I had one other note. One other thing, this is really quickly for the coaches and the coordinators. I just want to make sure everybody hears it. I know some towns have more than one team, and it's always a political nightmare to try to split those teams into fair and equitable. But you do need to do so, and you need to try to do so. We have a stacking rule, an anti-stacking rule in our rule book. And what that rule basically is that if one team in your town finishes with 3 or more than 3 wins better than any other team in your town in that division, the higher ranked team, 5th and 6th grade and 7th and 8th grade, the higher ranked team is disqualified from the playoffs. So if you're trying to build a super team, uh, don't. Quite frankly, not worth it. You're not gonna get the trophy because you're not gonna make the playoffs. I've heard some rumblings already throughout a couple of towns. I know politically it's always an issue every year. This year, for anybody who, I think only one town got their roster in before I added this. So A, thank you for being early, but B, I'm going to need you to go back in and take a look again. We did talk at the off-season meeting about adding club affiliation or whether the kid plays club as part of the roster. Bottom line is, look, I get it. We all get it. Sometimes, you think you split kids evenly on paper, and then you find out, three kids that never played before picked it up crazy quick, and you've got a great team. That's going to happen. Um, um, Thank you, Virginia. I just read your comment. Uh, but, uh, um, this is, we really want to keep the teams as even as possible. So, again, on paper, we know things look even, which is why we're asking for this club information and for their grade and for the years of experience. If it looks like you did a good job before the season started, um, then by all means, yeah, we're going to kind of give you a little wrist slap, but we probably wouldn't disqualify the team because it clearly looked like you did the best you could. It just didn't play out that way. Who knows? Maybe the star player from the lesser team was out for 3 weeks or something, so who knows? Things happen. But if on paper it looks like you built a super team before the season even started because you got all sixth graders and they all played club for 3 years, odds are we're really not going to give you the benefit of the doubt when you come in 7-0 and the other team in your town is 0-7. So you've got until really, I'll say September 1st, but really up to game day, game one, to align your teams. I highly recommend you take advantage of practice, preseason, play day, to maybe realign things. If again, every year it's something. And we had a town at one point. We had 16 teams in the 5-6 division one year, and one team from a town was the highest ranked team. One team from the town was the dead last ranked team. So, clearly they did not try to, even try to do even teams. So, coaches, don't listen to the parents. You know better. Coordinators, you guys know better. Carpooling is one thing, but make sure they trade for it. And that is all the preaching I have for tonight. So I do want to take, and again, I apologize. After all of our kind of hiccups and stuff, we're about 55 minutes into the actual content of the meeting. Usually we have about 10 or 15 minutes for questions. So if I know we have some YouTubers who won't be able to speak, but if you want to type a question in, I'm looking at that. If you're on the Google Meet, it'd probably just be easier to take yourself off mute and ask your question. So the next few minutes are yours. Anybody have anything they want to ask or bring up?
Timeline for the rules test for the umpires and the coaches?
Yes. Timeline is, I would say, by let's say Wednesday or Thursday this week. You do not have to pass the rules test to do play day, but you do need it for whatever division come first week of the season.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Just checking on the YouTube feed. I know there is a little bit of a delay with the YouTubers. There's a little bit of a delay between what I'm saying and what they're hearing, so give them a second. But okay. Nothing else on the Google side? Nobody, no questions? All right. Okay. I'm not seeing anything pop up on the YouTube side either. So what I'll say is, if you have any questions, think anything later, you want to shoot me an email, by all means. I will put um I'll put this video reluctantly up on YouTube. And anybody who you're aware of who didn't catch the tail end of it, you can, if you know of anybody who dropped off and couldn't get back on, you can direct them to, I'll send the link around. But help me out if anyone's looking for it. I'll put the link on the website too. And, just try to catch the end. I do appreciate everyone dealing with me. Where is the rules test? The rules test is actually with the screen up. If you look at the homepage of the website, left-hand side, you'll see rules interpretation tests. You'll hit that and it'll open up. There's one page for the 5-6 test, one page for the 2-4. If you plan to officiate both levels, you need to pass both tests. There are a couple of rules differences between the tests. Between the divisions, rather. If you are a coach, I would recommend, although it's not required, that you take the test. If you played high school or college field hockey and this is your first time back since then, rules have changed in general, but we do modify, as you got the impression of tonight, for safety and developmental purposes with the little guys. So even though you may have played and been an expert and knew everything then, never hurts to refresh. And then the last thing, just for the coordinators and coaches out there, that I'll just throw out, is if your town does not have a micros kindergarten first grade program, I highly, highly, highly recommend that you get those kids together. A lot of towns will do it for like 4 Saturdays in September. We're going to try to come together the first or second week of October for a little play day. That play day is, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, the most adorable hour and a half of field hockey you'll ever see. It's get those kids out there and try to steal them before they get too involved in soccer. Hey, who am I to say? If you have any questions on that, feel free to give me an email, and I won't take up any of your time. I don't see any other questions, so if there's nothing else, we'll close this. Thank you so much for dealing with the issues tonight. Appreciate it.